Is American Primeval a true story? All about the deadly Utah massacre that inspired the Netflix miniseries, and its connection to 2015's The Revenant. In 1857, a Mormon army murdered over 120 settlers, and covered up their involvement for decades. The only thing more horrific than the violent story of American Primeval is that it's based on true events. A dramatization of the 1857 Mountain Meadows Massacre, the Netflix limited series follows Sara Rowell, Betty Glipin, a determined mother who hires a guide named Isaac Taylor Kitsch to help her safely navigate across the western frontier with her son, Devin Rowell, Preston Mota. But that safety is compromised when their party is attacked by Mormon soldiers disguised as Native Americans, and they find themselves in the middle of a deadly battle for control of the American West. The gritty Western premiered on January 9th and took over the #1 spot in the streamer's top 10 the following day. Director Peter Berg told Tudum in January 2025 that he was inspired to make American Primeval after reading about the Utah War, a confrontation between the Mormon people and the U.S. government over land ownership that led to the violent killing of over 120 settlers, per Smithsonian Magazine. Executive producer Eric Newman described the retelling as an anti-nostalgic, truthful look at our history. These rose-colored glasses in which we view the past, from the first Thanksgiving onward, is a lie, he told Tudum. It's a lie meant to make us feel good about this really rugged, brutal path that we've taken. I think we do a disservice to ourselves by looking at it in that way because it prevents us from seeing it happening again. So, is American Primeval based on a true story? Here's everything to know about the real-life massacre that inspired the 6-episode series, and how faithful the dramatization is to the historical event. Yes, American Primeval is based on true events. Berg told Tudum that he first found inspiration for the series in 2020 after reading about the Utah War. Though many of the show's characters and their narratives are fictionalized, the 1857 Mountain Meadows Massacre inspired the attack depicted in the first episode. We chose that because there was this intersection between a few different Native nations, the U.S. government, the Mormons, and the American citizens who felt they had the right to move through this area, Newman said. The Mountain Meadows Massacre did happen, and it became, for our narrative purposes, an inciting incident of conflict for our cast of characters. Jim Bridger, played by Shea Whigham in American Primeval, was a pioneer and fur trapper during the 19th century. He earned a reputation as one of the greatest explorers and mountain men of that era, surviving multiple dangerous expeditions across the largely uncharted western frontier, per the National Park Service. Bridger has multiple mountain ranges, towns, wilderness areas, and even a national forest named in his honor. Will Poulter portrayed the famed mountaineer as a young boy in the Leonardo DiCaprio-led movie The Revenant. American Primeval takes place 50 years after the events of the 2015 film. Brigham Young, played by Kim Coates in the series, was the president of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints during the 19th century. According to Smithsonian Magazine, he served as governor of the Utah Territory for 7 years and ran it as a theocracy, giving churches authority over civil affairs. In 1857, President James Buchanan appointed a new governor to replace Young and enforce federal law. This, along with decades of tension between the Mormons and the federal government over land ownership and plural marriage, created a heightened sense of war hysteria among members of the church. Brigham Young and the Mormons feel as though the military is about to attack them at any point in time, so they've started their own army called the Nauvoo Legion, Newman told Tudum. The American army is concerned with getting the Mormons out of Utah Territory, so they're nervous that they're going to die fighting the Mormons. He continued, the Shoshone and the Paiute tribes are being squeezed from their lands by both sides, so they feel like they're getting ready to die. The miners and the trappers at Fort Bridger are all seeing their lives extinguished by larger trapper companies who are coming in and squeezing them out. Everybody is anxious from the get-go and everyone is truly fighting to stay alive. To maintain historical authenticity in American Primeval, executive producer Mark L. Smith told Tudum that many of Young's sermons in the series are pulled directly from sermons he gave in real life.